Once upon a time, liberals occasionally cared about the government having too much power. Back in the 1960s, for instance, it was liberal justices on the Supreme Court who created the Miranda warning, requiring law enforcement to tell criminal suspects that they had the right to remain silent. But the left has come a long way in the past several decades. These days, they don't just think you have the right to remain silent, they think it's a duty, especially when the topic is Obamacare. That's the only way to understand the truly chilling message that recently came out of the office of the Secretary of Health and Human Services, Kathleen Sebelius. The Secretary was angry because many private health insurers are blaming their increased premiums on the additional costs imposed by Obamacare. This shouldn't come as a surprise to anyone with a high school education. Obamacare requires health insurers to provide costly new services, such as allowing children to stay on their parents' health insurance until age 26, and mandating preventative care. Regardless of what you think of these policies, they cost money, and in order to provide them, insurers have to raise their rates. But it seems that the laws of economics weren't good enough for our beloved Secretary. She dashed off an angry letter to private health care companies reading, "There will be zero tolerance for this type of misinformation and unjustified rate increases." If President Obama really wants to bring the country together, he might want to start by getting his HHS secretary to sound less like Nikita Khrushchev. Secretary Sebelius' threat shows us how Obamacare will be implemented, with an iron fist. In Washington's world, if the government forces a business to increase costs, that's simply expanding choice for consumers. But if the business then tries to make up those losses, it's treason against the wisdom of the bureaucrats. If private health care insurers don't fall in line with Washington's schemes, they'll be excluded from the new health insurance exchanges, making the road to total government control of health care that much shorter. There's still time to stop that takeover, but the window is closing. It's time to get rid of Obamacare. And while we're at it, let's send Comrade Sebelius packing too. That's this week's Freedom Minute.
What if Congress tackled the budget crisis 15 years ago?
The joint resolution is not passed.
Just one vote short in 1995 and again in 1997. Since then, America's debt has climbed to a staggering $13 trillion. Before America becomes another Greece, it's time that we, the people, force the politicians in Washington to balance the budget without raising our taxes. We can't afford to wait another 15 years. Visit onemorevote.org.